Hello friends, welcome to Premier UPSC IAS. So today we are going to discuss the part 4 of the World Geography for UPSC IAS Prelims examination, World Climates, World's climatic types. So there are different types of climatic conditions pertaining to the region or where it is located. It means to which latitudinal level on the world. Okay, so 90-degree north Arctic or polar type of climate, Arctic polar type of climate. It is cold zone polar. Okay, and the other one is cold temperate zone, warm temperate zone, and hot zone. If these three types from 65-degree north, 45-degree north, and 30-degree north. Okay, the 65-degree north is western margin, continental, eastern margin, cool temperate zone. 45-degree north is British type climate, Siberian type climate, and Laurentian type climate, both temperate. Okay, and 30-degree north is Mediterranean type of climate, steppe type of climate, and China type of climate, warm temperate zone. 10-degree north is hot desert climate, Sudan type climate, monsoonal type climate, equatorial zone. 0 degree is hot, wet equatorial climate. Tropical climate zone, equatorial and hot. Climatic zone, equatorial zone. Equatorial climatic zone is in the latitudes of 0 degree to 10-degree north and south. It is hot and wet equatorial climatic type. Throughout the year, the rainfall is 80 inches and equatorial rainforest is a natural vegetation. Hot tropical zone, 10 to 30-degree north and south. Climatic types are tropical monsoon and tropical marine. Sudan type. Desert is Sahara type and mid-latitude type. Rainfall in the tropical monsoon is heavy summer rain 60 inches, and in the tropical marine is much summer rain 70 inches. And in Sudan type rain mainly in the summer 30 inches. Desert little rain, that is 5 inches. And the natural vegetation in the tropical monsoon and the tropical marine is monsoon forest, and in Sudan type is savanna or tropical grassland, and in the desert it is desert vegetation and scrub. The hot wet equatorial climate distribution. It is found between 5 and 10-degree north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: lowlands of the Amazon, Congo, Malaysia, and East Indies. All these come under the hot wet equatorial climate. Climatic conditions. Temperature. Uniformity of temperature throughout the year. There is no winter season. It is characterized by cloudiness and heavy precipitation. Diurnal range of temperature is small. Precipitation. It is heavy. It ranges between 60 to 100 inches and well distributed throughout the year. Equatorial vegetation. Tropical rainforest, selvas, a great variety of vegetation like evergreen trees. Example, mahogany, greenheart, ebony, cabinet woods, and dye woods. It has a distinct layer arrangement, that is thick canopy of foliage. Types of rainfall: convectional rain, orographic rain, intermittent shower. Tropical monsoon climate. It is found between 10 and 30-degree north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: Indian subcontinent, Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, parts of the Vietnam and South China, and northern Australia. Climatic conditions of this tropical monsoon climate are: there is a difference in the rate of heating and cooling of land and sea. In summer, the sun will be above the Tropic of Cancer. The great land masses of the northern hemisphere are heated. At the same time, the southern hemisphere experiences winter, and a region of high pressure is set up in the continental interior of Australia. In winter, conditions are reversed. The sun is overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. Central Asia is extremely cold, resulting in rapid cooling of the land. A region of high pressure is created with the outblowing winds, the northeast monsoon. Three distinct seasons of tropical monsoon climate. The cool dry season, October to February. Temperature is low, no rain or little rain, southeastern tip of peninsula to Indian subcontinent. The hot dry season from March to mid-June. Temperature rises sharply, no rain anywhere, intense low pressure zone at northwest India. The rainy season mid-June to September, with southwest monsoon in mid-June. Torrential downpours sweep across the country. They lower the temperature considerably. Vegetation of the tropical monsoon climate. It depends on the amount of rainfall, so monsoon vegetation is most varied: forest, thickets, savanna, and scrubland. less luxuriant, normally deciduous, thorny scrubland savanna with scattered trees and tall grasses. Tropical marine climates distribution east coast of tropical lands, Central America, West Indies, Northeast Australia, Philippines, parts of the East Africa and Madagascar, Guiana coast and eastern Brazil all are having tropical marine climates. Climatic conditions, rain, steady rainfall from the trade winds all the time, prone to tropical cyclones, hurricanes, or typhoons. Vegetation of the tropical monsoon forests. Dry periods depends on summer rainfall. Deciduous forest savanna type. Teak, timber, sal, acacia, and eucalyptus, etc., are found. The savanna or Sudan climate. It is a transitional type of climate found between the equatorial forests and the trade wind hot deserts. Regions are the following: Eastern and Western Africa, South Africa, Llanos of the Orinoco Basin, Campos of Brazilian highlands, and Australian savanna. Climatic conditions of the Sudan or the savanna climate are rainfall, less than tropical monsoon climate in north hemisphere, hot rainy season from May to September, and rest of the year is cool dry season. In southern hemisphere, the rainy season is from October to March. Temperature. Temperature increases as one moves further away from the equator. Extreme diurnal range of temperature, Sudan type. Trade winds which bring rain to the coastal districts. Natural vegetation: acacias, grasses, mulga bushes, long-rooted trees and plants, tall grass and short trees. Trees are deciduous, shedding their leaves in the cool, dry seasons to prevent excessive loss of water through transpiration. Hot desert and mid-latitude desert climates. Distribution: it is found between 15 and 30° north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: Arabian, Iranian, Thar, Kalahari, Peruvian, driest of all, and the Namib deserts. All these have hot desert and mid-latitude desert climates. Climatic conditions of hot desert. Annual precipitation of more than 10 inches rainfall. Relatively humidity is lower, making condensation almost impossible. Temperature. Temperature is high because of the clear cloudless sky, intense insolation, dry air, and a rapid rate of evaporation. Hot desert. Coastal deserts, due to maritime influence and the cooling effect of the cold currents, have much lower temperatures. Example: Atlantic coastal desert, Sahara region in the North Africa. Diurnal range of temperature in the deserts is very great. Climatic conditions of mid-latitude deserts. Rainfall. There will be light rainfall in winter or unexpected convectional storms with brief showers in summer. Aridity is mostly observed. Temperature. Due to their coldness and elevation, snow falls in winter. Winters are often severe, leading to freezing rivers and lakes, and strong cold winds blow all the time. Similarly, summer is very hot. Desert vegetation: grass, scrub, herbs, weeds, roots, or bulbs. Lack of moisture in the air and excessive heat leads to the creation of unfavorable conditions for plant growth. Predominant vegetation here is xerophytic or drought-resistant scrub. Intense evaporation increases the salinity of the soil so that dissolved salt accumulates on the surface, forming hard pans. Plants are long-rooted and few or no leaves. The foliage is either waxy, leathery, hairy, or needle-shaped to reduce the loss of water through transpiration. Type 2. Temperate climate zone, warm and cool. Warm temperate climatic zones, 30 to 45° north and south. The climatic types are western margin Mediterranean type, central continental steppe type, and eastern margin China type, Gulf type, and natal type. The rainfall in the western margin Mediterranean type is 35 inches. The rainfall in the central continental steppe type is light summer rain 20 inches, and the rainfall in the eastern margin of China type, Gulf type, and natal type is heavier summer rain 45. The vegetation in the western margin Mediterranean type is Mediterranean forests, and the natural vegetation in the central continental steppe type is steppe or just temperate grassland, and the natural vegetation in the eastern margin China type, Gulf type, and natal type is warm wet forests and bamboos. Western margin Mediterranean climate. Distribution. It is found between 30 and 45 degree north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: Central Chile, California, southwest tip of Africa, and southern Australia. Climatic conditions. A dry, warm summer with offshore trade winds, and there is practically no rain. Intense heat condition and relative humidity are low. A concentration of rainfall in winter with onshore westerlies bring much cyclonic rain from the Atlantic to the countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea. Bright sunny weather with hot dry summers and wet mild winters. The prominence of local winds around the Mediterranean Sea. Sirocco, hot dry dusty wind Sahara Desert, and Mistral, cold wind North Africa. Vegetation. Mediterranean evergreen forest, open woodlands with evergreen oaks. Eucalyptus forest replace the evergreen oak in Australia. Evergreen coniferous trees, pines, firs, cedars, and cypresses. Mediterranean bushes and shrubs, lavender, rosemary, laurel, not suitable for livestock farming. All these are in the Mediterranean climate. Central continental steppe climate. It is found between 30 and 45 degree north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: Northern Hemisphere, Eurasian steppes, Hungary, Pustas, China, Manchuria, North America, prairies. Southern Hemisphere, Argentina and Uruguay, Pampas, South Africa, Wales, bush and high, Australia, downs, Canterbury, grasslands. Climatic conditions. Continental influences the extremes of temperature in northern hemisphere. Winters are very cold. The annual range of temperature is great, a direct result of continentality. The average rainfall is about 20 inches. The maritime influence in the steppe type of climate of the southern hemisphere is even better brought out by the rainfall regime. Natural vegetation. The steppes, prairies, pampas, veld, and the downs. The grasses are tall, fresh, and nutritious. Long prairie grass, willows, poplars, or alders grass dominant. Towards the equator, the steppe grass becomes shorter and sparser. Eastern margin China type climate distribution. It is found between 30 degree and 45 degree north and south of the equator. Regions are Parana, Paraguay, Uruguay basin natal type, southeastern USA Gulf type, and eastern margins of continents in warm temperate latitudes. Climatic conditions: warm, moist summer and cool, dry winter. The mean monthly temperature varies between 5 degrees centigrade and 25 degrees centigrade. Uniform distribution of rainfall throughout the year, range 25 to 60 inches. Local storms also occur, such as typhoons, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Natural vegetation. Luxuriant vegetation, both evergreen broad-leaved forest and deciduous forest trees. Species: Parana pines, eucalyptus trees, oak, and cypresses. Cool temperate climatic zones. Latitude 45 to 65 degree north and south. Climatic types of the cool temperate climatic zones are western margin British type, central continental Siberian type, eastern margin Laurentian type. And the rains are in the following ranges: 30, 25, and 40 respectively. Natural vegetations are deciduous forest in the western margin British type, evergreen coniferous forest in the central continental Siberian type, mixed forest that is both coniferous and deciduous in the eastern margin Laurentian type. Western margin British type climate distribution. It is found between 45 and 65 degree north and south of the equator. Regions are the following: Northern Hemisphere, Britain, North and Western France, Belgium and Netherlands, Denmark, Western Norway and Northwestern Iberia. Southern Hemisphere, Chile, Tasmania, New Zealand and South Island. Climatic conditions. Due to the oceanic influences, keep the winters very mild but also keep the summer cool. Adequate rainfall throughout the year. There are four distinct seasons in the British climate type which are absent in the tropics, that is winter, spring, summer and autumn. Natural vegetation. Natural vegetation, deciduous forest trees shed their leaves in the cold season. Higher up the mountains, the deciduous trees are generally replaced by the conifers. Species are oak, elm, ash, birch, beech, poplar, maple, and chestnut, etc. In the Western margin British type of climate in when it comes to cold temperate climatic zones. Central continental Siberian climate. It is found between 45 and 65 degree only north of the equator. Siberian climate is absent in the southern hemisphere because of the narrowness of the southern continents in the high latitudes. Regions in the northern hemisphere are the following: North America, Europe, and Asia. Climatic conditions: temperature, cold winter of long duration and cool brief summer. Annual precipitation cannot be high because away from the maritime influence. Extreme of temperature is in Siberia, so it is often called cold pole of the earth. Rainfall. Annual range is 15 to 25 inches, convectional type. Maximum in summer. Natural vegetation. Coniferous forest belts of North America and Eurasia are the richest sources of softwood. There are four major species of the coniferous forest such as pine, fir, spruce, and larch. Eastern margin or the Laurentian type. It is found between the British and the Siberian type of climate. Laurentian type of climate is found only in two regions: North American region, Eastern Canada, Northeastern Asia, USA, and Newfoundland. So, North American region, Eastern Canada, Northeast USA, and Newfoundland. Asiatic region, Eastern Siberia, North China, Manchuria, Korea, and Northern Japan. Climatic conditions. Temperature. Winters cold, dry winters and temperature may be below freezing point. Summer warm, wet and as warm as tropics. Rainfall. The rain falls throughout the year. However, there is distinct summer maximum from the easterly winds from the oceans. Annual rainfall is 30 to 60 inches. Natural vegetation. It consists of cool temperate forests. The forest tends to be coniferous north of the 50-degree north parallel latitude. Oak, beech, maple, and birch are the principal trees. Polar type of climates. Polar climatic zone. Cold and alpine. Cold is 65 to 90-degree north and south, and alpine is higher altitudes. Climatic type is Arctic or polar in the cold climatic zone and mountain climate in the alpine climatic zone. Rainfall is very light, summer rain 10, and in case of alpine, heavy rainfall which is variable. Natural vegetation of the cold climatic zone is tundra, mosses, and lichens, whereas the natural vegetation of the alpine is alpine pastures, conifers, and fern. Arctic or the polar climate. It is found between 65 and 90-degree north and south of the equator. It is found mainly in the north of the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere. The ice caps are confined to Greenland and the highlands of these high latitude regions. In the southern hemisphere, the virtually uninhabited continent of Antarctica is a greater single patch of ice cap. Conditions: temperature. Very low mean annual temperature. Winters are long and very severe. Summers are cool and brief. Rainfall is in the form of snow, 10 to 12 inches for the tundra. There is normally a summer maximum. Natural vegetation. There are no trees in the tundras, only the lowest form of vegetation such as mosses, lichens, and sedges. In summer, berry-bearing bushes and Arctic flowers bloom landscape into Arctic prairies. Natural hazards. Natural hazards are naturally happening physical phenomena caused either by rapid or slow onset events which can be geophysical like earthquakes, landslides, tsunamis, and volcanic activity, hydrological like avalanches and floods, climatological like extreme temperatures, drought, and wildfires, meteorological like cyclones and storms, waves, surges, etc., biological like disease epidemics and insect or animal plagues. Earthquakes. It is caused due to the release of energy which generates waves that travel in all directions. The release of energy occurs along a fault. A fault is a sharp break in the crustal rocks. Rocks along a fault direct to move in opposite directions. Convectional activity, plate tectonic movement causes the plates to move. Focus and epicenter. The point where the energy is released is called the focus of an earthquake, also known as hypocenter. The energy waves traveling in different directions reach the surface of the earth. The point on the surface nearest to the focus is called as epicenter. Earthquake waves. An instrument called seismograph records the waves reaching the surface of the earth. Earthquake waves are of the following two types: body waves, surface waves. Generation of body waves. Due to the release of energy at the focus, waves are generated and they move in all directions traveling through the body of the earth. There are two types of body waves. They are called Heaves waves or primary waves and S waves or secondary waves. The primary waves or the P waves can travel through gaseous, liquid, and solid materials, whereas the S or secondary waves they can travel only through the solid materials. S for S. Generation of surface waves. A new set of waves generated when the body waves interact with the surface rocks. Emergence of shadow zone. In seismographs, some specific areas where the waves are not reported, such a zone is called as the shadow zone. The seismographs located beyond 145 degree from the epicenter record the arrival of P waves but not that of the S waves. Thus, a zone between 105 and 145 from the epicenter was identified as the shadow zone for both the type of waves. The shadow zone of S wave is larger than the shadow of the P waves, as S waves do not travel through the liquid outer core of the Earth. Types of earthquake. Tectonic earthquakes, sliding of rocks along a fault plane. Volcanic earthquakes, areas of active volcanics. Collapse earthquakes, underground mining activities. Explosion earthquakes, explosion of chemical or nuclear devices. Reservoir-induced earthquakes, area of large reservoir. Effects of the earthquake: ground shaking, differential ground settlement, land and mudslides, soil liquefaction, structural collapse, falling objects, ground displacement and ground lurching, fire, floods from the dam and levee failures, tsunami and avalanches. Measuring earthquakes. The magnitude scale is known as the Richter scale 0 to 10. The intensity scale is Mercalli 1 to 12. The distribution of earthquakes. Regions of the greatest seismicity are circum-Pacific areas with along the Pacific Ring of Fire where 70% earthquake occurs. Remaining 30% of earthquakes takes place in the Mediterranean Himalayan belt. Volcanoes. The material that reaches the ground includes the lava flows, pyroclastic debris, volcanic bombs, ash and dust, and gases like carbon dioxide, nitric oxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and hydrochloric acid, etc. The mantle contains a weaker zone called asthenosphere mantle. The material in the upper mantle portion, molten rock material, is called magma, while it is below the Earth's surface and as lava when come on the Earth's surface. Types of lava. There are the following two types of lava generated by the volcanic eruption, such as basic lava and acid lava. Basic lava, highly fluid and dark colored like basalt, rich in iron and magnesium but poor in silica, spread out as thin sheets. Therefore, the resultant volcano has a gentle slope with a wide diameter, forming a flat shield or dome. Acid lava, highly viscous and light colored, low density, rich in silica, does not spread out because of the high viscosity. Therefore, the resultant volcano has a steep slope, forming a cone-like structure. Classification of volcanoes. They are classified on the basis of nature of eruption and the form developed at the surface after the eruption and subsequent cooling. Major types of volcanoes are the following: shield volcano, composite volcano, caldera, flood basalt provinces, and mid-ocean ridge volcanoes. Sheet volcanoes made up of basaltic type of lava characterized by low explosivity, and example are Hawaiian volcanoes. Composite volcanoes, they are characterized by eruptions of cooler and more viscous lavas than basaltic lava. Outcome: lava, large quantities of pyroclastic material and ashes. Caldera, most explosive of the Earth's volcanoes, the collapsed depressions are called calderas. Flood basalt provinces characterized by highly fluid lava that flows for long distances. For example, Deccan Traps in India, Maharashtra Plateau are example of flood basalt provinces of volcanoes. Mid-ocean ridge volcanoes occur in the oceanic ridge, example mid-Atlantic ridge. Volcanic landforms. The lava that is released during the volcanic eruptions on cooling develops into igneous rocks. Depending on the location of the cooling of the lava, igneous rocks are classified as volcanic rocks, cooling at the surface and form the explosive landforms. Plutonic rocks, cooling in the crust and form the intrusive landforms. Intrusive landforms. The lava that cools within the crustal portions assumes different forms. These forms are called intrusive landforms. Major forms are the following: batholiths, laccoliths, lapolith, faccolith, sills, and dikes. Batholiths. Batholiths are the cooled portion of the magma chambers. They appear on the surface solely after the denudational processes. These are granitic bodies, laccoliths. They are large dome-shaped intrusive bodies having a level flat base and is connected by a pipe-like conduit from below. The Karnataka plateau is spotted with many dome-shaped hills of granite rocks. Lapolith. The horizontal movement of lava wherever it finds a weak plane, it develops into a saucer shape, concave shape called lapolith. Facolith, a pluton of igneous rock parallel to the bedding plane or foliation of folded country rock is called facolith. Sills. The horizontal bodies of the intrusive igneous rocks are called sill or sheet based on the thickness of the material. Dikes. These are formed when magma flows into a crag, then solidifies as a sheet intrusion, either cutting across layers of rock or through a contiguous mass of rock. Active, dormant, and extinct volcanoes. There are three types of volcanoes based on the volcanic activity: active, dormant, or extinct. And extinct. Active volcanoes. These are said to be active when they frequently erupt or at least when they have erupted within the recent times. Example, Kiliau volcano in Hawaii and Etna in Italy. Dormant volcanoes. These are the volcanoes in which the eruption does not take place regularly in the recent past are known as dormant volcanoes. Example, the Fujiyama volcano of Japan and the Narcondam Island volcano of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Extinct volcanoes. Extinct volcanoes are those where the volcanic eruption had taken place in historic times but they are not active today. Example, Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. Distribution of volcanoes. Around 80% of the volcanic activity is found along subduction boundaries, which indicates the close relationship between earthquakes, plate tectonics, and volcanic activity. Mid-oceanic spreading centers and continental rift accounts for around 50% of the volcanic activity. Rest 5% is intraplate volcanism. Broad classification of distribution of volcanoes are the following: Circum-Pacific Ring of Fire, Mid-Atlantic Belt, Mid-Continental Belt, intraplate volcanoes. Pacific Ring of Fire. It is also referred to as the Circum-Pacific Belt. It is a path along the Pacific Ocean characterized by active volcanoes and frequent earthquakes. Its total coverage area is approximately 40,000 kilometers. It traces boundaries between several tectonic plates, including the Pacific, Juan de Fuca, Cocos, Indian, Australian, Nazca, North American, and Philippine plates. Reason behind the Pacific Ring of Fire. A large amount of movement of tectonic plates in the area leads to more number of volcanoes and earthquakes along the Ring of Fire. Plates overlap at convergent boundaries called subduction zones along the Ring of Fire. That is, the plate that is underneath is pushed down or subducted by the plate above. As the rock is subducted, it melts and becomes the magma. The abundance of magma near to the Earth's surface gives rise to condition that is ripe for volcanic activity. This stretch of the Ring of Fire is a transformed boundary where plates move sideways past one another. A significant exception is a border between the Pacific and the North American plates. There is considerably less volcanic activity. Mid-Atlantic Belt. There are only a few basaltic volcanoes having fissure type of eruption. They occur along mid-oceanic ridges. Seafloor spreading is in progress in such areas is common. Mid-continental belt. Volcanoes are caused due to a collision between African, Eurasian and Indian plates. This collision results in the creation of fault zone. For example, Eastern Africa. It includes volcanoes of the following: Alpine Mountains, Mediterranean Sea, intraplate volcano. These volcanoes are scattered in the inner parts of the plates away from the plate margins. Therefore, they occur in the middle of the plate boundaries where magma exits from weaknesses in the Earth's surface. They are also called as hotspot volcanoes. Example, Hawaiian Islands. Cyclones. They are an elliptical arrangement of isobars having low pressure at the center with the convergence of winds within them. The direction of the wind in the cyclones is anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Cyclones are of the following two types: temperate or mid-latitude cyclones, tropical or low-latitude cyclones. Temperate cyclones seen in the mid latitudes between 35 and 65° north and south, and they blow from west to east and are more pronounced in the winter season. Major regions are the Atlantic Ocean and northwest Europe. Each such cyclone alternates with a high pressure anticyclone. Cyclonic weather is characterized by drizzling rain and of cloudy nature for this number of days, whereas the anticyclonic weather is characterized by sunny, calm, and cold waves. Tropical cyclones occurs in the zone of the confluence of the northeast and the southeast trade winds, that is intertropical convergence zone, ICTZ. ITCZ. Major regions are Mexico, Southwestern and North Pacific Ocean, North Indian Ocean and South Pacific Ocean. There are no clear warm and cold fronts as temperature seldom differs in intertropical convergence zone. They do not have a well-defined pattern of winds and are energized by convectional currents. They are called by a different name in different regions, such as hurricanes in Caribbean Sea, typhoons in China, Japan, and Philippines, cyclones in the Indian Ocean, and willy willies in the northern Australia. This deeper pressure gradient causing strong high velocity winds and torrential rainfall bursting upon a restricted area combine to create a destructive storms. They are not accompanied by anticyclones. Cyclone versus anticyclone. Pressure system. Pressure condition at the center in the cyclone is low, anticyclone is high. Pattern of wind direction. In the northern hemisphere, for cyclone it is anti-clockwise, and for anticyclone it is clockwise. Whereas the southern hemisphere it is opposite. For the cyclone it is clockwise, and for anticyclone it is anti-clockwise. Tsunami. Tsunami is a Japanese word which means harbor wave. A tsunami is a large sea wave caused by the displacement of a large volume of water. They can be used by earthquakes triggered by moving sections of Earth's crust under the ocean. Tsunami is the waves generated by the tremors and not an earthquake in itself. Water is displayed and waves move through the ocean at high speed. Tsunami slows down as water reaches the shore, but the waves increase in height. Two large ones that caused particularly extensive devastation are the Indian Ocean tsunami 26 December 2004 and the Japanese tsunami 11th March 2011. Thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are small-scale intense weather events associated with the frequent lightning, high winds, and heavy rainfall. Thunderstorms happen during the afternoon and evening hours and during the spring and summer seasons. These are created when the air near the ground is heated and it is transported upward into the atmosphere, a process that's known as convection. Usually, cumulonimbus clouds result in more intense thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorms frequently develop ahead of cold fronts, an area where warm and cool air are contrasting.